Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you again with another tweet from Wealth Squad Chris on X. Thought this was very interesting. So, as you know, and as pretty much everyone knows, the money supply over the past several years, ever since COVID, has been increasing at a unbelievable rate, right? And he goes on to talk about it here. He says the growth of the global M2 money supply since 2000 is 7.3%. He says the growth of the S&P 500 since 2000, I imagine that's probably 7.1% per year. Or actually that's probably, before the 2000 crash and the 2008 crash. I'll have to double check that. But he said the S&P 500 is the inflation rate. And he said, this is why your brokerage account grows, but you aren't getting wealthier. If you want to keep up, S&P 500. If you want to get ahead, Bitcoin. So if your investments are not, growing at the rate of the S&P 500, you're not keeping up, right? You're losing purchasing power every single year, according to his analysis here. And then he said, if you want to get ahead, Bitcoin is the answer. So let's look at what he's talking about here. So it looks like he used X's Grok AI here. So he's looking at compound annual growth rate, M2 money supply in 2000. Plugging some numbers here. He says, so the calculation for the money supply between 2000 and 2023 is 7.3%. And then he asked it, give me the compound annual growth rate for the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2024. And that returned 7.1%. So it looks like that's where he pulled this data from. Pretty crazy if you think about it, right? The amount of money that's been printed over the last several years has just been incredible. And it's not sustainable, but you have to be aware of that. And if you're saving in fiat currency like cash, and you're not at least growing at the rate of the S&P 500, you're losing purchasing power every single year there. So let's look at some more data from here. This guy says he has more than 60% of his investments in the S&P 500. Would it be wise to close and transfer into Bitcoin? The Chris, he said, you want more money or less money? LOL. And I think he's referring, S&P 500 is going to keep up with inflation or the money supply rate, but that's it. Are you growing your wealth to be able to purchase more things, or do you just want to be happy with where you're at right here? This guy said, interesting perspective. The S&P 500 may hedge against inflation, but true wealth creation often requires assets with higher growth potential. Absolutely. Bitcoin, with its scarcity and decentralization, offers a compelling case for getting ahead, especially as global monetary policies, probably just further adapt. So, especially as global monetary policies evolve. Yeah. So what's your strategy for balancing? Keeping up isn't winning. Bitcoin isn't just about beating inflation. It's a hedge against the system trying to rob you. Interesting. He said, just trading water. If you think you're getting richer, but only nominally, not in purchase, but absolutely, very interesting there. He says, does your SPY calculation take into account compounding dividends? So that's a very important thing, because the majority of the returns in the stock market are dividends. So would be nice to know whether that is the case or not. He said, this coconut hairy guy says, the math is simple. Buy Bitcoin and hodl. Came for number ago of technology. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of, I'm not going to go in there. Screenshot of this, making it my wallpaper. Absolutely. That's some good advice and good reminder for sure. This guy says, this is a great perspective. So the government projected inflation rate is 4% lower at a conservative rate based on this. Wow. That's funny. This guy says Bitcoin is the best investments. Stocks are for noobs. Could be, they can print more stocks if they want to. Look at Michael Saylor. He's doing a reverse, or he's diluting MicroStrategy shares. And what's he doing with that? He's raising more capital to buy more Bitcoin. Should we be buying more Bitcoin, or should we be buying more stocks? Let me know your thoughts down below. So this is a great analogy, right? Income type in fiat, fixed wages, income security low, asset ownership none. It's the poor column there. Can't win, poor every single year. Absolutely. If you're saving in fiat, your purchasing power is decreasing every single year. Middle class, fixed salaries, mixed, home plus some assets, becoming the new poor. Wealthy, mainly asset yields, high, significant, death by 1,000 cuts, politically connected, government funded, fully insulated, extensive, industrial theft. Yeah. So this guy says, if you want to get rich, research and invest in the appropriate altcoins. Yeah, I haven't really looked at altcoins, so I'm not an advocate for that. There's a ton out there though, so there could be opportunity for sure. As always, I'm sure there's some winners and some losers for sure. So let's look at what this guy posted. He said the CAGR of Bitcoin since 2013 is 50%, which is jaw-dropping for the S&P 500 investors. So 2013 to 2025 is 51%. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think down below. What are your thoughts on this analogy here? As far as the S&P 500 being the true inflation rate based upon the money supply. Would love to hear your thoughts. Are you purchasing Bitcoin? Are you saving in Bitcoin? Do you like the spot ETFs? Do you have your own private wallet that you're purchasing? Do you use Coinbase? Do you use some other exchange to purchase Bitcoin? Once again, disclaimer, this is not financial advice, not a financial advisor here. Just kind of documenting the education and stuff that I find on social media. Definitely doing research though. Once again, this is social media. So, do with that as you will. Analyze the data yourself and make your own decisions when when ultimately deciding and coming to a conclusion on your investment strategies. Let me know what you think down below of this tweet and of this analogy. Once again, definitely go recommend going and checking out Wealth Squad. Chris's page on X has a lot of influential content on his page.